Hello and welcome. Tonight, collation of results begin in Bayelsa State following the conduct of rerun elections in southern Ijaw and 6 other local governments. Youth in Eket Senatorial District of Akwa Ibom State, Lord Governor Emmanuel Ogom's developmental strides, charging him not to be distracted by the recent court rulings which nullified his election. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka warns that the current anti-corruption drive in the country must be sustained. And German Chancellor Angela Merkel opposes changes to make it easier to deport asylum seekers who commit crimes after the New Year's Eve sex attacks on women in Cologne.
And on Business News tonight, analyst predicts the Nigeria equities market may recover by the second quarter of the year.
And in sports news, Nigeria's Flamingos thrashed Namibia 4-0 in the first leg of the 2016 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup qualifier.
I'm Sulaiman Alede. We begin tonight from Bayelsa State, south region of Nigeria, where all eyes are on the Electoral Commission as collation of results for the governorship election is underway. Bayelsans went back to the polls today for the concluding part of the state governorship election after the Independent National Electoral Commission declared the December 5th election 2015 inconclusive. The election was cancelled largely in southern Ijaw and some other polling units across 6 local government areas after the December 5 and 6, 2015 conduct due to violence and election malpractices. Our correspondent, Show Okimbale, has more updates on this particular election.
The very hour most people are expecting is near. Security operatives, NYC corps members serving as ad hoc officials are up early, waiting at the jetty here in Yenagua for onward transportation to different duty posts. Channel's television crew get on the boat on what turns out not to be the easiest water travel.
It's been over an hour from Yenagua to Oporoma, the headquarters of Southern Ijaw local government area. Over an hour, and we've been traveling here just to monitor the election here in this local government area. It's been a very, very interesting drive over the water.
Southern Ijaw local government area is on the minds of many people for this exercise. After over an hour, we arrived at Oporoma, the headquarters of Southern Ijaw local government area. It is past 10 a.m. and no materials, no INEC officials in sight. Soon, just before 11 a.m., the materials eventually arrive and anxiously officials distribute them. Huge presence of security operatives are clear indications that authorities are not leaving any stone unturned. The exercise gets underway eventually and it looks faster than usual.
The difference is clear. This morning, I just left my room to the polling unit and voted. There was no quarreling. Everything was smooth.
In other parts of the state, like some parts of Yenagua, the exercise is similar in nature, but it didn't come without some disagreement between the different parties involved. Afterwards, the exercise continued. There are, however, reports of violence in some parts of the state. For this youth leader, it is a matter which bothers the mind. The result then goes to the world for counting, and then when the results are fully in, we will know the winner of the race, which has become a difficult one to determine.
When people talk about the terrain of this area, this gives you a sense of what this all means. The boat speeding across the water for several minutes, you keep traveling and you see what you see is water and water. On the river here in southern Ijaw area of Bayelsa State, Seun Okimale reporting for Channels Television News.
That was the earlier part of the day when Seun arrived on election day. Now, Let's join him on this more update show. Good to have you join us on the news at 10. A whole lot of people waiting for the outcome of this particular supplementary election in Bayelsa State. Take us through the process now, especially as we hear INEC has a new style, simultaneously asking voters to go through the accreditation and voting at the same time.
Thank you so much, Sulaiman, and welcome to Yenagoa, the capital of Bayelsa State. Well, this is Yenagoa Town Hall, where the collation of the result is supposed to be taking place, and of course, the announcement of the final result. Before I give you updates, before now, we've arranged for a National Commissioner of INEC to join us to give us an update, but we understand that they're in a crucial meeting on this exercise and is unable to join us. And the reasons are very critical. Of course, you know, one of the reasons, just like you mentioned, that INEC has decided to slightly amend its guideline to favor the logistics challenges that they had in southern Nigeria and some areas of Bayelsa State in the December 5th and 6th conduct of this governorship election is because of this issue of logistics and violence. And of course, they've tried as much as possible to collapse the first phase and the second phase of the election process, which is the accreditation exercise and the voting process. And so what they have done simply is that naturally or traditionally, INEC has always conducted accreditation between the hours of 8 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. and usually voting will commence at 1 p.m. But because of the terrain in Bayelsa State, especially areas like Brass, areas like southern Nigeria, where you will travel on water for several hours, they've tried as much as possible to say, okay, this time around, we're going to put those two phases together, and at the end of the day, we'll have accreditation and voting happen at the same time. But it looks so much like everything that INEC has put into this exercise is not perfectly working. It's worked to an extent, but you know, the reason why it has not perfectly worked is because as we speak right now, some results are still not in from the field. They're still collating and counting some results in places like Oporoma, the headquarters of Southern Nigeria local government area, which gives you the sense of just how critical this situation is. We've heard about situations of violence, attacks from some of the major parties involved in this exercise. We've seen a few people who are in the hospital who had caught from machete and all of that. We're still going through the process of confirming some of these stories. And of course, any moment from now, we'll be waiting to hear from INEC what exactly is the state of things. Just like you see beside me here, these two seats just on my right and my left are where the returning officers of the local government areas are supposed to come and announce their results. And just over my shoulder are the seats that are prepared for the resident electoral commissioner, the returning officer, the national commissioners, and of course, the security agencies who are going to be sitting here. They are the major stakeholders in this exercise. But as you can see, these seats are empty for now because the results are not totally in. Don't forget, Sulaiman, that 7 local government areas have majorly their results in, and largely we are expecting results from Southern Ijaw local government area, which has perhaps the largest voting population in Bayelsa State. 8 local governments altogether, and in these all, observers, journalists are supposed to be in this room, but largely this room is still very empty. Sulaiman.
Very quickly here, before you leave, we have seen the empty state of that particular room. How has it been when you go out of that particular room? The people who are anticipating the outcome of this particular result, are they set for this outcome?
Very well, Sulaiman. You know, the situation in Bayelsa State, Bayelsa's people are people who are resilient. They are very fearless people, and you can see in the way they respond to the issue of election in this state. They don't take it as easy as we all see happen. So it's so obvious in the way things have turned out since December the 5th, 6th, 7th, and of course until now that we're experiencing this exercise, perhaps for the third time that the governorship election will hold in this phase. So the people on the streets, that's exactly what they're talking about. In the taxis, on the streets, people who are selling, hawking on the street, the major thing on their minds, on their lips right now is the result. Who is winning? They want to know. Who is going to be the next governor for another 4 years? They want to know. And of course, people are calling from across the country to know exactly what is happening. But right now, what you can see in here in this room, journalists are not even here yet. Most of them are still trying to know exactly when the officials will come in and announce the result. But we expect, from what I understand, INEC will come into this room any moment within the hour to give a press statement or a press conference on the situation of things. Maybe tonight, maybe not, maybe tomorrow morning. That's when the result perhaps will come in. And that's what all of us are waiting for here, including the international and the local observers who are all waiting and itching to know who wins in this exercise. Sulaiman.
Many thanks, Sheung, for giving us that update. We'll stay with you on this particular one and with the outcome of this particular final results of the Bayelsa governorship election. Sheung Kibaloyan, Channels TV political correspondent covering the elections there in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State, in the 6 local government and about 102 polling units that will make this election a conclusive one. In part 2 after the break, ahead of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, members of the Bring Back Our Girls group want special honor for soldiers fighting insurgency. Please join us again.